Denmark. Preservation is essential for the collective memory. This is the bungalow that was torn down, and I had the opportunity to reconstruct this, and this was the dedication in 2007. I come from a neighborhood known as, in the King's part of St. Thomas, enclosure, and throughout these various neighborhoods, Kings, Queen, and Crown Prince's Quarter, there are efforts by community groups to preserve their collective memory. This is a community center in the heart of Garden Street, Long Pat, to assist youth to transform their lives. This urban environment and these various neighborhoods struggle to maintain their integrity. This is a project I worked on, restoring this building for a senior citizen. And we were able to restore that building for him. These houses, the craftsmanship built by African artisans, their furniture, their structures, their contribution to European societies and the Americas, speaks volumes of this cross-cultural heritage. Our efforts of the Institute are to create learning centers within various neighborhoods throughout our territory. And this is where our offices are in St. Thomas and in St. Croix with the Door Center. And with the little funding that we receive, we try to transmit to our young people the value of being a Virgin Islander and a rich history. I too come from humble beings. This is the family property in King's Quarter, where my grandparents lived and operated a store. The two buildings there they owned. And my grandfather, the great-grandfather, assisted in building the communal hospital or communal school. The hospital, and then later become the communal school in Charlottetown. He was a professional master mason. So I see their pictures. They carry the name Peterson. I have no link on paper that traces me to Denmark, but our genes tells us that a Dane was there. And on my father's side, from Africa, various aspects we found. This is a house in Fredrikstad, owned by the Abbots. This is part of an exhibition, a photograph, and I saw the picture and I realized that most likely it is my great-grandmother that's under the porch, who was a domestic in the Abbott household. My quest for identity took me to Ghana in 1985 and made contact with the Cantons. Likewise, other Danes who are on the other side of the Atlantic, who also have African and Danish blood, seek similar questions. Today we use DNA as a tool to link us to our African past, while our archives and various depositories throughout the world not accessible to us. These tiny vernacular cottages, this belongs to my mother, which we renovated, so I don't talk the talk, I do it, is now used for a daycare. And this link to our historic past that's celebrated every March 31st, Transfer Day, and the various activities that we've done to keep this heritage, this link in the minds, in the collective minds of Virgin Islanders, require your assistance and your dedication in programming as we look at our identity. 1917, 2017, 100 years. The loss of identity, a society that fails to preserve and promote its culture, may lose its identity that is the root of its existence. Thank you very much.
I think we have time for some questions. Are there any questions or comments?
No question? No comments? I did a very good job then. Thank you very much. Thank you, yes?
you've just been there 2 months ago, and this hospital, there was a picture of the
Yes, sir.
Yeah, was it in Charlemagne?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And the building is still there?
Yes, sir.
Oh.
It was a school up to about 2 years ago. Due to structural issues, the Virgin Islands Department of Education and the Virgin Islands government condemned the building. But it's one of the buildings that I would like to see very much restored and retrofitted that can serve to assist in the preservation of our arts and our culture. It's one of the largest brick buildings of its kind in the Virgin Islands. Yes?
This is George Tyson.
I know you, George.
I don't know who's talking. But I'd like to put you on the spot a little bit and ask, how do you see the role of the Heritage Institute in this collaboration that we've been discussing today?
That's a very good question, because I've been engaged with the Institute from its conception, because I was one of the researchers for the 1994 Black Festival of the Smithsonian Institution. And I have a commitment to see it flourish in that most societies have institutes which promote the cultural heritage of its people. The dynamics of the Virgin Islands, as you know, has so many facets. And as a result of Virgin Islanders redefining themselves and defining themselves, and this relationship between Denmark and the Virgin Islands today, past and present, right down to our Constitution and the issues relating to the Treaty of 1917, and inherently what does that mean for native Virgin Islanders that go from this period. Likewise, what does it mean for Virgin Islanders from the Eastern Caribbean who've made the Virgin Island their home, and all others from North America, the United States, Europe, who call the Virgin Islands their home. Where do we stand on this? I believe that the Virgin Islands Cultural Heritage Institute should be a force within the Virgin Islands that harnesses the cultural heritage. That's why it was created. And the cultural activities that the government sponsors, as well as various private organizations and non-profit organizations and individuals that are doing cultural advancement in the territory, have an obligation to make sure that the material is deposited in the Institute, and that's why it needs cultural centers. You cannot study a culture if you don't have a place to go to do so. Going and speaking to Ansula at 105, she may not be with us next year. Where did you deposit this material? So those are the challenges that we have had in terms of getting our politicians to understand that investment into a facility, and likewise the training of Virgin Islanders in the folk arts. We need folklorists, we need anthropologists, we need archaeologists, and we're not talking about 100 archaeologists, as you know. We need at least 3 archaeologists in the Virgin Islands to assist in the collection and the cataloging of what you presented yesterday. Otherwise than that, the Department of Planning cannot protect the interests of these cultural resources if they don't have the manpower and the professionals to do the job. So that's the role I see the Cultural Heritage Institute playing. It gets low on the totem pole because the dynamics of culture internally, as we look at ourselves, is not always that we celebrate ourselves. We see the outside as the bigger picture and not internally, and thus we throw away the baby with the bathwater. I hope I answered you.